Hey guys, welcome to a quick little video where we're gonna round up a few video cards. Now we have two PCI graphics cards. Usually I go with AGP, but have been using the FX 5500 in a few previous videos, mostly to do with the SuperSocket 7 platform and the K6 Plus and K6 Plus, because those chipsets, they have some buggy AGP implementations, and yeah, the machine can crash, and you can avoid that by going with a PCI video card. And a lot of you have asked to compare the PCI FX 5500 with the AGP version, which we have here. And I have another fairly decent PCI video card. This is the GeForce 6200. So we have our Windows XP test machine ready to go. All the specs are down below in the description. But before we look at the benchmarks, let's have a look at the specifications of each of these cards. So first up, we've got the PCI version of the FX 5500. The core runs at 250 MHz. We have an effective memory clock speed of 266 with a 128-bit memory interface, and the RAM is DDR. This is the PCI version of the GeForce 6200. It's got a higher clock speed at 300 MHz, and the effective memory clock speed is also a lot higher, 532 MHz. However, the memory interface is only 64 bits, and the memory type is DDR2. And this is the AGP version of the FX 5500. It's clocked 20 MHz higher on the core compared to the PCI version, so we got 270 MHz. The effective memory clock speed is the same, 266. It also has a 128-bit memory interface, and it also uses DDR memory. And all three video cards have 256 megabytes of VRAM. And here we have the benchmarks. The blue bar is for the PCI FX 5500, the green one is the PCI 6200, and the orange one is the FX 5500, but with the AGP interface. And what stands out is that in 2001 I see the AGP 5500 is a little bit faster than the PCI version, but not by a lot. And when we get to 2003, there's not much of a difference, maybe 200 3D marks. But in the with the PCI version of the 6200, we can see that this card is significantly faster than the others. So for this benchmark, to better see the difference between the video cards, rather than pick a bunch of games with the same setting, I chose a few selected games and I played around with the detail settings and the resolution. So let's focus on the detail settings first. We have Quake 3 running at 1024 by 768. And what we can see is that going from the fastest preset, which has the lowest quality, to the high quality preset, we can see that the results get compressed. So with the fastest preset, the AGP card is quite a bit faster, but as the video details become more and more demanding, the difference actually becomes smaller. And here we can see the same thing, but now we are changing the resolution. So I locked in the graphic settings to normal details, and we're changing the resolution from 640 by 480 all the way up to 1600 by 1200. The VRAM is the same on all the cards, and we can see once again that the lower the demand on the video card, the higher the AGP video card performs. But as you crank up the details or the resolution, the gap narrows. And at 1600 by 1200, there's not that much difference between the cards. Sure, the 5500 PCI compared to the AGP card is slower, but I'm really impressed by how well the 6200 does. The next game we're looking at in closer detail is Far Cry. So here I've locked in the details to the low settings, and we're changing the resolution from 640 by 480 all the way to 1600 by 1200. And in this game, the 6200 PCI card does really well, outperforming the AGP 5500. And between the two 5500s, yes, the AGP card is faster, but we see once again that at the higher details, more demanding settings, that the difference shrinks. And here we have Doom 3. Now this is a very demanding game for these video cards. We run at 640 by 480. I turned off all the special effects and shadows and so on. And I played around with the detail setting. Now this one works a little bit different. It has more to do with the amount of video RAM that the textures need. Ultra uses 512 megabyte, whereas low is recommended for 64, medium for 128, and high for 256. The high details also turn on anisotropic filtering, so that's why the results go down a little bit. And what is interesting is that both the 6200 and the AGP version of the FX 5500 kind of perform at the same level. Yes, we are getting fairly playable frame rates, but you have to keep in mind this is really with the lowest details, and Doom 3 does not look nice at these settings. So now let's have a look at some gameplay footage. I took the PCI 6200 and we've got MDK2, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, Call of Duty, the demo version, and Half-Life 2, the collector's edition version, which is the original one from back in the day, not the current Steam version, so it runs a lot better on retro hardware.
Yes. Ah, there you are. Shackle that.
Speeder just blew my doors off. In pursuit. Copy 28.
To address the anxieties underlying your concerns, rather than try to answer every possible question you might have left unvoiced. First, let us consider the fact that for the first time ever, as a species, this simple fact is
So there you have it, guys. That was a nice little comparison between the FX 5500 in PCI and AGP version, and also the PCI 6200. I was quite surprised how well the PCI version of the 6200 did, especially at the higher detail settings. It's not that far off from the FX 5500 with AGP. In general, with these video cards, the FX 5500 I would recommend more for a Windows 98 project. It has drivers that go back far enough to work really well with 98 and most games. It also supports these retro features like palletized textures and table fog and all of that stuff. The PCI version of the 6200 I would recommend more for Windows XP rather than Windows 98. Firstly, it's got more performance, so it will run those more demanding games a little bit better. And the drivers, you can't go back as far as with the FX series, and it doesn't support the palletized textures and table fog and all of that stuff. And that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know what you think. Do you use any 3D accelerators with PCI in your retro machine? How does that work out for you? Which drivers are you using? And what card can you recommend looking at the benchmarks and the results shown in this video? And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, you want to see more stuff like it, please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Click on that notification bell, give it a like and leave a comment. And I shall see you soon with another one.